Joining us now is Democratic Congressman Jason Crow of Colorado. Congressman, good to have you here. Much to discuss. First, the shutdown negotiations. House Appropriations Chair Tom Cole told NBC News, quote, "We're pretty far apart still on trying to limit presidential powers. I don't think you're likely to see a Republican House and Republican Senate try to limit a Republican president." So is this the only card Democrats have to play to try to limit President Trump and Elon Musk's slash and burn?
Well, let's take a step back and look at the fact that House Republicans and even Senate Republicans now are unwilling to stand up and do their constitutional duty of serving as an independent check on the presidency, regardless of politics, right? They have been captured by this president. They have been captured by Donald Trump. We see that time and time again. We saw that last night when 217 House Republicans lined up behind Donald Trump, and they passed a bill that's not paid for, that will add to the deficit, that will give $4.5 trillion of tax cuts to billionaires and the largest corporations, and will gut Medicaid and take health care away from millions of Americans. It's astonishing.
Okay, you said your piece about Republicans, but what about Democrats? And what about you? Are you willing to shut down the government to hold the line against DOJ?
Well, to be clear, Anna, we are not the party in power right now. Right? The Republicans have the House majority, they have the Senate majority, and they have the White House. It is their turn to govern. Right? They won the election. They have to govern. It's their responsibility. And they have two decisions, two options. The first option is they can actually work with us to govern because they have a slim majority and pass a bill that's in the best interest of their constituents and of Americans. The second option is they weaponize this, they capitulate to Donald Trump, and they pass a bill that will gut congressional power, that will gut health care from Americans, and we're just simply not going to do that. That's their decision. That's not our decision. We're always standing here ready to work with them in good faith if that's what they want to do.
Have you reached out to the powers that be in the Republican Party?
Well, I'm one of the most bipartisan members of Congress. I'm always having discussions with my Republican colleagues and counterparts to see where we can work together. The Trump administration is not taking my calls, to be clear. I mean, I have a long history of pushing back and resisting the worst impulses of Donald Trump. But listen, I always talk to anybody and everybody I can talk to. Right? I never refuse a good faith conversation because that's what I'm here to do. That's my job, is to actually figure out how we can legislate, how we can deliver for folks and make their life better. And I'm never going to stop doing that.
Speaking of conversations, we have some new reporting that House Republicans are now planning to scale back town halls after the intense blowback we've seen from angry constituents upset about all the DOJ cuts. Is this a case of if you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen?
Yeah, that would be a good way to put it, Anna. Listen, the lesson from tough town halls and pushback in people's districts shouldn't be run away from that and do less of that. The lesson, obviously, by these members should be, wait a minute, the people who I am constitutionally obligated to represent are going to be hurt and are speaking up and have a right to speak up. Right? I'm doing a town hall tomorrow night, and I have over 1,500 people who have signed up for that town hall. Right, that's 3 times the size of my next largest town hall since I've been a member of Congress. I'm going to show up. I'm going to engage. Those people have a right, my constituents have a right to know where I stand and what I'm doing to advocate for them.
And so many lives have already been impacted by the firings, the layoffs, the cuts that DOJ is making. You have served and continue to serve on the Armed Services Committee. You've served in the military as an Army Ranger. Democrats say at least 6,000 veterans have been fired as part of the DOJ cuts, with as many as 500,000 at risk of losing their jobs. I want you to listen to one Army vet who worked for USAID and was just laid off.
This isn't a meme. This isn't a tweet. This is myself and my wife and my 3 children who don't know how we're going to pay the mortgage next month. You know, this is someone that has spent people that I work with that have spent their entire lives dedicated to helping others, sacrificing for others.
Veterans make up about 30% of the federal workforce, according to the House Appropriations Committee. How concerned are you about the impact of these cuts on vets?
Well, it's devastating. It's simply devastating. I'm a combat veteran. I served 3 combat tours in Iraq and Afghanistan, and actually one of the reasons I went into elected public service is to advocate for my fellow veterans. Right? There is a sacred promise in America that if somebody steps up to serve, that this country will be there for them and their families. right? People are willing to give everything for this country in service to our nation, and we owe it to them to make sure that they're taken care of. And this is just this illustrates the problem of Donald Trump and Elon Musk's approach. Donald Trump has handed over the keys to the United States government for Elon Musk to run off and treat it like some hostile corporate takeover, right? But the problem is when you're dealing with government as opposed to some hostile corporate takeover, real people's lives are impacted. People can lose health care. People can lose their homes. People's lives can be devastated, and you simply can't just repair that on the back end. There is irreparable damage that's done to people's lives, and the impact on veterans shows that clearer than anything.